Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th YouTube channel. And I thought what I would do is I would play a song by Art Mooney that is called I'm Looking Over a Four-Leaf Clover. It was released in 1948. Yes, 1948 was about 76 years ago. Wow. And guess what very famous rock star was born in 1948? Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin. Yes, it's a fact. That's when he was born. That's true. While I was, excuse me, while I was at work today, I purchased this AMC Theaters Extra Butter Movie Theater Popcorn. Yep. This is for sale in stores now. And what you do is when you buy a bag of it, you put the desired amount of popcorn in a popcorn, one of those rectangular popcorn servers, or in something like this. This is a salad bowl that was part of a set of plates and bowls that I bought at Kohl's when I moved out here. And you heat it in the microwave for about 30 seconds before you eat it. Well, the version that you get at the movie theater is better, but this is still about at least 70% as good. Good popcorn. Good popcorn. I looked at some of the ingredients on the back of the bag. Okay, I had to finish the bowl of popcorn so I could think a little more clearly, because I had a little bit of blank thinking, writer's block, so to speak, or verbal block, so to speak. It would be a better word of what these were. Oh, I wanted to try popcorn so bad it just happened. Well, I sure enjoyed this. I ate all of it, and it tasted pretty good. And let's see what else. Since I have listed my last vlog that I recorded, I believe it was somewhere between February 23rd or 24th. And what has happened since then is I got my hair cut, and one day on a day off, I got 2 big loads of laundry done, and then I took care of some other personal business. One of the things that I'm considering doing with my life, even though I still really love Denver, I've been thinking about this on and off since about 2022, perhaps, early 2022, late 2021, when I was still living in Huntington, West Virginia, before I moved back here. I've been thinking about moving to Burlington, Vermont. One of the key things about that town is there is a very good airport. Burlington International Airport, yes. And I think that airport is a key hub for the state of Vermont, because Vermont is geographically, it's not as small as Rhode Island, but it's small, and there's not that much of a population, because they have a congressman at large and 2 U.S. senators, like Delaware and South Dakota, North Dakota, and Wyoming. I need to take a sip of coffee. Yeah, I really love this coffee mug. See? This has to do with the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And this personal assistant and secretary to the assistant principal or the principal, the principal's character name was Ed Rooney. Her name was Grace. She's said some favorable things about Ferris Bueller. They said that he's really well liked by all different types of people, by sportos, motorheads, geeks, bloods, sluts, wastoids, dweebies. He's a righteous dude. Yeah. And he was very well liked, but the way Ferris Bueller, played by Matthew Broderick, the way Ferris Bueller did school was pretty bad. Yeah. He called in sick and he played sick, and his parents were all worried about him, but he was as healthy as a horse, and he went out and he really, so to speak, painted the town and went out and about around Chicago or Chicago Metro and did too many fun things. He wasn't sick. Pretty damn dishonest to do that to your parents. It really is. Okay. Okay. Sorry for the long delay. It's not going to appear that way on the video, but time-wise, with all the time I used to do this, see what I did was I paused and I needed to change the ink cartridge that's in my printer so that I could print something out, a story idea. And as I took off the top of it, it started leaking like a sieve, and I had to rush over to the thing and I had to take the thing to put the thing in there, and then there was stains all over my fingers, and then and the shirt, after I washed up my fingers, I had to try to get as much as I could of the ink stains off that nice Cozy Dog shirt. Oh well. And then I printed out the story that I've written. It's another unfinished story idea out of like over 2 dozen. And then what I did was I packed up my pipe. This, a GBD prehistoric. And I also refilled the lighter. So please stay tuned. I'm going to be reading the story. You're going to find this pretty interesting. It's about a guy named Cameron Carson who likes to go by Cam Carson. The Carson is in no way, shape, or form related to Johnny Carson. He just happens to have the same last name, because there's more than one Carson in the United States or in the world population. A lot more than one. Okay, so before I actually read what was written, I'll tell you this much. It was created myself on June 18th, 2019. You see, back in those days, this was way before I started the YouTube channel that I have now. And I had been working at the grocery store chain that I worked for almost 2 years. Yep, almost 2 years. And I think a little bit after that time, or just a little tiny bit before that, they were starting to train me on how to run a cash register. In fact, come to think of it, they probably did. And it wasn't in the sense that I would be, my job title and the sole purpose of why I'd be working there would be a cashier and nothing else. Yeah, I would be a relief cashier and a courtesy clerk. Just a second. Okay, I had to pause again and go get my pipe knife and tamper. Yep, this thing's a beauty. I paid less than $10 for it with shipping. In fact, it was about $7.49, $7.99, and with shipping it was only another $4 to $5. So probably less than 13 bucks when I came down to it, and when all was said and done. Okay. So the story takes place 4 days after Christmas, and it's fairly late at night. It's at least 8:30, 9:30, and where it is LAX airport, or where he lands. Where the story takes place is in the 7700 block of Hollywood Boulevard. The 7700 block of Hollywood Boulevard would be roughly about 8 to 9 city blocks, either north or east or west of the Hollywood Walk of Fame and where the Grauman's Chinese Theater is. Yep. And, why don't I go ahead and start reading the story? Cameron Marcus Carson arrived in Hollywood, California after a round-trip airplane flight to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and then returned to LAX airport to his home on Laurel Canyon near Hollywood Boulevard. Before he actually returned to his nice 4-bedroom, 300 square foot house, again on Laurel Canyon Boulevard, he stopped at, I shouldn't say this address, but I'll go ahead and say it. 7724 Hollywood Boulevard, to a nice classic diner named Hollywood Treasure Classic Cafe that had great comfort food and some nice specials. The joint was for all people of all walks of life. It was not just for movie stars, shock jocks on FM radio, and peons who did cleaning work at the movie studios. I need to pause really quick. It was a restaurant welcome to all types of people. People like a minister who worked for Reverend Billy Graham, part-time janitors who did work at public or private schools, auto mechanics, part-time store clerks, and even young 16 to 17-year-old long-haired boys who earned less than $60 a week working at movie theaters doing ticket ushering and janitorial type cleaning. Yes, December 29th, 1981 was an interesting time for Cam Carson. 1981 was a great year for him. His company sold new and used records, cassette tapes, and had some of the most lucrative musics. Oh goodness, let me say that again. Had become one of the most lucrative music stores in the United States. Yes. The 12,000 square foot store not only had thousands of customers from LA Metro, but he had a successful mail order business as well. King LA had a sales revenue of over $12 million. Yeah. In 1981, that was big, big bucks. Now, even though I do not state this in the story, I personally think that his annual salary that he was collecting from the store was probably at least $600,000. The buying power of $600,000 then was probably about the same buying power as at least $9 million now. I mean, that's the best personal assumption I can make. Am I right on that? There's a good possibility. Am I wrong on that? That could be too. Okay, back to the reading of the story. Hold on. Cam was a single man. He looked youthful for a man who was 46 years old. And he was proud to be born on April 5th, 1935 in Warwick, Rhode Island. And the day he moved to Los Angeles, California, he only had $24 to his name. When he moved there on April 2nd, 1958, just less than a week before his 23rd birthday. He moved out there after suffering from a major snow blizzard and extreme cold weather in 1958 that entrenched all of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New York. He moved to Los Angeles. He lived with a 65-year-old lady inside her small house. She was a deeply religious lady who worshipped, I had to pet my cat really quick, okay, who worshipped at a Southern Baptist church and despised hearing any type of profanity. He lived in her house for 45 days until he saved up enough money from his job as a night watchman at a prestigious bank, and then had his own digs, a small apartment located on Orange Drive, and his first apartment was a 350 square foot studio apartment. Orange Drive is one of the streets that goes this way on Hollywood Boulevard, because Hollywood goes like this. It's like a north-south street probably, and these east-west streets would meet like this. Where Orange Drive is, in near the Hollywood area, I'm not sure. It's probably from the Grauman Chinese Theater area and the Hollywood Walk of Fame area, probably less than 10 blocks. And it's either that way or it's that way. Okay, back to the story. At 9 p.m. on December 9th, he was very hungry. He desired to eat biscuits and gravy with a side of 4 strips of peppered bacon and a slice of pecan pie, and a cup or 2 of delicious hot cocoa whipped cream with whipped cream on top of it. He loved eating at this restaurant. As soon as he entered the place, a man who always wore a long beard saw Cam enter the restaurant and immediately walked over to Cam and extended his hand and spoke to him in a friendly tone. "Hey, it's really nice to see you survive that flight back from South Carolina. Did you have a nice Christmas celebration?" asked Ryan Bunker. Now, the man, Ryan Bunker, I have a mental picturization of him having salt and pepper hair, and it's slightly long, but it's only about, off the top of his head, about maybe 3-4 inches, but it's still, above the collar. And his beard's about down to here, and he looked kind of like Grizzly Adams, or one of the musicians with the Oak Ridge Boys country western band. Excuse me. And what I have not written about this story idea is after he eats there, 4 L.A.P.D. officers come in. And in the parking lot, which is fairly large, of the restaurant, he sees 6 gangbangers get into a nasty fist fight, and the police officers step in and they break it up and they arrest all of them, and they take them away in a paddy wagon. Yeah, an L.A.P.D. paddy wagon. One of those vehicles that looks like about the size and equivalency of a UPS delivery. Well, UPS delivery truck or a FedEx truck, but it has the L.A.P.D. logos on it. And then Ryan Bunker and Cam sit and talk for a little bit, and they talk about some interesting things. And he Ryan confides to Cam. He says, I know this young guy who feels guilty that he stole one of your cassette tapes. He would like to give it back and pay for it. And Cam thinks about it for a minute, and he says, okay, tell him I'll forgive him, and I'll let him come back to the shop if he pays for it, under one condition. that he writes a letter of apology about how wrong he was for doing what he did and what he will do to advise his friends to never ever steal anything of any kind ever from any store. And then what happens is Ryan gets, or excuse me, not Ryan, Cam gets into his car. His car would most likely be a Buick Rivera, or a Redline Rivera, or it would be a Cadillac. Yeah. Probably a 1980 or a 1981 Cadillac. Yeah. Not the most deluxe one, but really cool looking, and it's got that blue. It's got that kind of light baby blue, sort of turquoise-ish looking color. And he was so wiped out. He's not a habitual smoker, but as soon as he got home, he goes into a humidor. And he pulls out a dark Maduro cigar that's, yeah, it's a little bigger than a Rothschild. It's in between the size of a Churchill and a Rothschild. And then he listens to the recordings on his answering machine. And his answering machine is one of them high dollar ones. I mean, nowadays, if you want a good answering machine for a landline, a personal landline, not a commercial, not a business landline, that's a digital answering machine, I bet you can get a very good one with a phone, with a good cordless phone for probably less than $75. But just the answering machine alone itself, I think it would be Duo Phone or Radio Shack or some other company. It would cost. I mean, back then, again, brace yourself. It would cost this much. It would probably cost at least $200. Yep. And it would have a regular cassette tape in it, or it would have a micro cassette tape in it. It wouldn't have one of those little 3-inch open reel ones. And one of the recordings is a customer of his who is a single female who lives alone, and she calls crying, wanting to either have a job or to have some money to be able to feed her children, because what little food she's got very little left. And what he does is he tries to call her. Phone number's disconnected. Kind of suspicious, isn't it? And then he takes down some notes of some of the other messages, because a couple of them are business related, and one is a reminder from his credit card company for a department store card that he's over a week late, but then he just makes a note to call them and inform them that he's going to be sending a check immediately. And the other ones were business related from a couple of distributors, and another one who's a good customer who wants to come to the store and show him some samples of some things, of some t-shirts and impulse items. And then what happens is he goes upstairs. He opens up his suitcase, and his suitcase, if it wasn't Samsonite, I bet it was Gucci. Yeah. Or Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton. And he unpacks everything, and then all of a sudden he hears a knock on the door. He runs downstairs, and there is 2 sergeant patrolmen and a tall, we're talking 6'6" guy with a mustache like this, kind of like what they call the horseshoe mustache. And he's got distinct bushy eyebrows, and he's got really big muscular hands. And he's wearing a suit with no tie, and you know, when he reaches up to go like this to his face, he can see a high dollar square shaped, you know, one that's kind of shaped about like this, cufflink that is high dollar. Yeah. If it's not 14 karat gold, it's 24 karat gold. Yeah. It looked like the type of thing you would find at Saks Fifth Avenue, one of the stores on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, or Neiman Marcus. I mean, it was that cufflink, that set of cufflinks was probably over $75 for sure. And what the visit was about, from the 2 sergeant patrolmen and the detective, you know, a high-ranking sergeant, detective sergeant with L.A.P.D, was they showed him pictures of 3 women that they knew hung around his store, and he only knew the name of 3 of them. And one of them, when he knew the name of one of them, he pulls out some other photographs out of either something inside his suit coat or one of those, I think it would be called a visor, you know, a leather visor. And they show a picture of this girl with a whole bunch of pockmarks on her face, and she's pale as a goat, and her nostrils are flared out, and there's scratch marks on her nose, and her lips are chapped with cold sore like sores. And her ears stick out a little bit like this, instead of being flat. And there's on one of them, because they showed like 3 different angles of her head, like this, like this, like this. And on this ear, right about here, he sees a big zit. I mean, it's about that big around. You know, this tip part. And they want any information that they have of where they think she lives. And all he says is, look, all I know is after she leaves, and if I'm out doing some work outside, I see her heading this direction on the street that is immediately adjacent to the record store, the music store. And I see her walk into a building. And they tell him which one, and he points it. He says it's the one that is 2 blocks east, whichever one that would be. And then what they do is they look at his ID, his driver's license number. They get a couple of his business cards, and they get his ID, and they say, well, we appreciate your cooperation, and one of the patrolmen gives his card, business card, or ID, or something that'd be more like an ID card, even though it looks like a business card, and the detective would give him his business card. It's got 3 different phone numbers on it. Yeah. And then what happens is he goes to bed about half hour later after he finishes the cigar. And he's got most of the unpacking done, and he's thinking, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'll go into work for just about 2-3 hours to get some things going, and then I'm going to come back here and relax a little bit and get some other things done. And then he goes to sleep probably about 11:30 midnight. Actually, let me correct that. Somewhere between 10:45 and about 11:15. He's exhausted. He needs to sleep. And at about 6:30 in the morning, when it's, because see, it don't snow out there, it's raining heavier than hell. And he wakes up because he hears some loud thunderbolts. And then he tries to get back to sleep, and then the phone rings. And as soon as he picks up the phone, he goes, he hears the F word, and the guy slamming the phone. You know what I think that would be? You know that probably what it is? It's the one girl. It's the boyfriend of the girl that he knows who the girlfriend is, but he doesn't know anything about the boyfriend. Yep. The guy got the phone number from. The boyfriend got the phone number for Cam from a payphone, and he paid the whatever the fee would be, 25 cents, 35 cents, 50 cents, whatever it would be, through directory assistance, 1411 or 411. Yep. That's what that guy got for having an unlisted phone number. I bet he's going to change that after that happens. Well, that's about all I really want to bring up on this one. And thank you for being such loyal subscribers to my YouTube channel. I've gained 2 more subscribers in the last 24 hours. And I hope everybody has a good day, and all you pipe smokers, I hope you have a good pipe full. And goodbye. And please look at my description for the link to send me a donation through PayPal. Bye-bye.